Hi guys and welcome to today's video. If you're new here, my name is Sabrina. I post largely fashion and beauty content here on YouTube, but I do also occasionally do other videos, and if that does sound like something you'd be interested in, then don't forget to subscribe and have a little look at what other videos I have posted recently. Today we are talking about autumn and winter style and my personal wardrobe must-haves. We have some very obvious things, you can see some behind me. We have some that are a bit more niche and also a little bit of wardrobe care as well. But before we get started, just remember that this is my personal opinion. It's important to take everything I say with a pinch of salt and kind of shape it to fit your own wardrobe and your own style as well. And also if you do think that there is a missing bit in your wardrobe that maybe I talk about, or just generally I guess, I always recommend that you first have a look in charity shops and secondhand on places like Vinted, eBay, if you have a little bit more money, Vestiaire, but I think it's always best to shop secondhand where possible. So on to the first item, and this is the most obvious one I think, and I have a few obvious ones, but I couldn't leave it out, and that is coats. I just think a good coat is so incredibly important in the autumn and winter. Jackets are kind of useful too, but I really haven't found a jacket that I love. I just find coats so much easier. The ones I'm going to show you are all long. I am 5'7", so I'm tall-ish, but obviously if you're shorter, obviously if you're a totally different body shape to me, find something that works for you. I have 3 to show you. These are probably my most worn, I would say, and I'll kind of talk you through why I love each one. This one here is from Love and Roses. This actually isn't one of my seasonal colours. If you've been here for a little while, you may know that I'm a winter in terms of like seasonal colour analysis, but I just really love this coat. I just find it to be so incredibly useful all autumn and winter. It is long. I love that it's got a hood. It's quite a casual coat. I don't typically wear it if I have meetings or to anything worky. For a day-to-day coat and a weekend coat, this is just great. Then I've got this one, which is from New Look. I have honestly had this coat for a really long time. I'm gonna say, I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe about 5 years is my guess. I need to kind of go over it and kind of bring it back to full health, because I feel like some of it has gone a little bit bobbly, and I probably wouldn't wear it with this jumper, but for me personally, with my shape, with my height, I just find a long coat with a belt works really well. This one is actually within my seasonal colour. I just feel really comfortable in this coat, and I'm a really big fan. I just want to kind of show you that you don't necessarily need to be investing loads of money into a coat. I would just recommend buying a coat that you genuinely love and that you'll have for many years. But if you are going to buy fast fashion like this New Look coat, I think it's important that you kind of keep it for a long time. So obviously have a little look at the material. Do you think it will last a long time? Is it lined? A lot of fast fashion brands, namely Zara, don't line all their coats, and I think that's very important. But probably my favourite coat last year, and I suspect my favourite coat this year, is this one from Next. It's not wildly expensive. I doubt they still have it, but it was probably about £95. It feels so heavy. Whenever I take this coat off and hand it to someone, like in a restaurant or I don't know, at someone's house, they always comment on how heavy it is. I think this is a really beautifully made coat, and if they have this, I would highly recommend this coat. Again, not actually within my colour palette, but I don't think it looks too bad. It is more of like an autumn coat in terms of colouring, but just love this coat. Again, a belt works really well for me. It's comfortable. I can throw it over everything, and this is my favourite. Michael does say it looks a bit like a Inspector Poirot, is that his name? Coat, and he's probably not completely wrong, but I love it, and I really think like a good staple coat is worth taking the time to find. I was gonna say like avoid really fast fashion brands for coats, and I do think that's true to a certain degree, but if you go into a really fast fashion brand and you find a coat that's genuinely well made and you genuinely love, then I don't think it's the end of the world. But what you're really looking for is a well made coat that will last you quite a few seasons, because even if you're not investing a lot of money into a coat, they're always a little bit more expensive than buying a t-shirt, of course. I'm going to work in no real order. So next we have a Rogue one, and these are fur insoles. Mine are from Amazon, but I do think you can get them from a few different places. I just find that they add that little extra bit of warmth into your shoe. They're really good for like trainers, which I find aren't the warmest. To be honest, almost every shoe I think will benefit from a pair of these. You can just buy one pair and kind of switch them between your shoes, but really I'd probably advise buying a few pairs and switching them between your shoes. You don't need to get 20 if you have 20 pairs of shoes. They do kind of make your shoes that little bit smaller, I would say. Really love these, and they're really inexpensive addition to any winter wardrobe in my opinion. And I have these, I think I have a pair of my trainers and a pair in a pair of boots, which I'll show you now, because my third must have is a pair of boots. Now this really depends on what you like. If you find heels really comfortable, then a pair of heeled boots with a point, great. If that really fits your style, great. If you can, actually having kind of like 2 different styles of boots, excellent. But as a true winter must have, in my opinion, a pair of good chunky boots is a must. Now these are my Doc Martens. They are slightly more expensive. I have a video coming up about Doc Martens soon, but I personally really think they're worth the investment. Spoiler for my future video. These are the vegan ones. I can't remember what they're called, but I will link them down below. I really get so much wear out of these. I think they are relatively timeless, especially compared to other boots. They have a thick sole, which I really like, because often I go on walks and sometimes it's muddy, sometimes it's wet, and it's always cold, and I feel like having a thick sole in the winter is really, really important. They are pretty waterproof, any issues ever. They're really comfy. I would really recommend a chunky winter boot. That can be a pair of walking boots if that's your style, if you have more of a casual style. These are quite casual, but I find a walking boot even more casual than these. For many, many years, these would have been too casual for me, and I would have gone for a, do I have them here? No. I would have gone for like a pointed boot with a chunky heel. That's fine, but if you walk a lot and you like to be outside even in winter, I would say go for a flat pair. But if you can, also invest in a good pair that you can kind of wear every day. But obviously boots are essential. Next, and something I really need to explore even further this year, is thermals. I wore these a lot last year, so they're not in the best of conditions, but I don't think they're too bad. I have the Uniqlo Heat Tech thermals. I have a short sleeve and a long sleeve. They look like this. This one has a scoop neck. You can get them with a higher neck, but I would just really recommend thermals. Uniqlo Heat Tech, which is really good, and these are really thin. You can kind of almost see through them, but they're still nice and warm. Or you can go more traditional and go for something like an M&S thermal. Although I do think M&S have like really traditional and less traditional, but I'm just saying that I really, really, really think thermals are essential. They can go under almost any outfit, and it means that you don't have to be adding like chunky layers. You can just add nice, thin, but still warm layers. When it starts getting cold, I pretty much wear them every single day, whether I'm at home or not at home. At home, I think it just adds an extra layer, and it just means that I can probably put off putting the heating on for an extra 10 minutes or even a little bit longer, to be honest. I'm going to do a video about how I layer in the winter, but I really like a thermal, then like a long sleeve top, and then a jumper, and then a cardigan. I really like to, jumper and a cardigan is a bit far, but I really like to keep warm, and I think thermals, honestly, just such a good way to do it. They aren't the cheapest, I wouldn't say, considering it's something to go under your clothes, but definitely worth the investment. You can use them for many years. I think it can really expand your winter wardrobe, because if you have a slightly thinner jumper that's probably more of an autumn jumper than a winter jumper, you can just throw a thermal underneath and you'll be as warm as being in a winter jumper. My one tip is don't go oversized in your thermals, because you want it to really be on top of your skin and like lock in that heat, which is actually something I didn't mention. With coats, I would oversize. I think it looks way more contemporary, and you can also put lots of thick jumpers under it, but with your thermals, don't oversize, in my opinion. Then on to accessories. These again are very obvious autumn and winter accessories, but I feel like not everyone wears them. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're not niche. I know a lot of people that don't. And the first we'll start with is hats. I think woolly hats are so important in winter, in autumn and winter. Your heat largely escapes through your head. They're a must, in my opinion. This one actually needs to go in the wash, but this is my grey hat from H&M, and this was really inexpensive. This may have been £5–6. I have worn this for years. It's from their Divided range, which is their cheaper range, but still absolutely love it. It has really, really lasted me. With hats, you're not washing them that regularly. You still want to wash them, but you're not washing them every time you wear them. I do find that they last really well. The reason I find that most people don't wear them is because they think they don't suit them. This doesn't really suit me. It's not the most flattering. My point in this video is it does not matter. Sometimes you just need to be warm, and that's something I've learned as I've got older, and hats are a game changer. Also, if you're having a bad hair day, they work really well. They're an extra accessory, which I really like. If you did watch my video about my colour analysis, I recommended getting a colour that really does suit you. So for example, I wouldn't go for a yellow mustard hat because that wouldn't work for me, but this red hat works much better for me, although I think I've got it on the wrong way. I think it's probably more like this, but it's what I need to have a little play around with. But get a hat in a colour that really suits you. If you really don't think woolly hats suit you, I think even a cap is better than nothing in winter, because it will still offer a little bit of like protection from the heat escaping your head. I personally really think go for a woolly hat. And on from that, get a pair of gloves you love. It's funny because I really think that different people like different types of gloves. These are my favourite. I would highly recommend them. They're a little bit more expensive, but I just think they're excellent. I got these as a Christmas present, I'm gonna say like 3 years ago. I remember thinking, oh, a pair of gloves. And then 3 days later I was like, oh, wow, a pair of gloves. Like, I love these. These are Uniqlo. I'm clearly a big Uniqlo fan. And these are Cashmere. I need to like debubble mine, but they are really lovely and warm. I find them very comfortable. They're not itchy, nothing like that. I think they're about £25, but have a look on like Depop because people might be selling brand new pairs there. I probably wouldn't get these in second hand if I'm completely honest, just because they kind of do age a little bit more than, for example, a hat. I just can't recommend these gloves in particular more. But generally, I just think if you don't like these might not be your vibe. You might like leather gloves. I personally just don't find them comfortable. But get a good pair of gloves that will keep your fingers warm in winter. Because for anything like me, I get, what do I get? That thing that old people get. I just have to keep my hands warm. And it's something I really struggle to do. So I'm not gonna lie, I have a pair of like fingerless gloves which I wear at home. I know, really chic. But when I'm out, I have to wear gloves. And those cashmere ones work really well. And then, something I'm wearing, a striped jumper. I love a striped jumper. I think every season needs a striped jumper, whether it be, actually I don't know if I love a t-shirt in the summer. Yeah, let's say no striped top for me personally in the summer. In spring and autumn I like a long sleeve thin stripe top, a thin striped top, as in the top's thin, not the actual stripes. But in the winter I love a striped top. I get so much wear out on my striped tops. This is my newest one. This is from Quiz. I have got it tucked up into my bra because it is quite a long one. I have maybe like 4 striped jumpers / cardigans, and I get so much wear out of them. Something I noticed though is that sometimes, I very rarely say this, but sometimes I think getting something that is synthetic works a little bit better than getting something that's wool, just because I have a synthetic striped jumper and it just hasn't really bobbled. It's just kind of stayed looking new a little bit longer. This one has a zip, but honestly, whatever works for you. It doesn't have to be black and white. I find black and white works quite well, but again, black and white works quite well with my colouring. My zip works, but I don't really want a zip here. This works quite well for me because I like a little V, but equally I could do it up if I wanted to. I don't want to. Actually, all my striped jumpers have got V's, but if you suit more of a higher neck, go for that. If you want a red and a white, red's really popular at the moment. A grey and a white, grey's really popular at the moment. A pink and a white, a pink and a blue, like whatever you fancy. I just love a black and white stripy jumper, and I really think it works really hard within my wardrobe. Let's go with this one, which is a black blazer. Again, if you want a different colour, fine, but blazers generally, I think, are great. For a while, I found that I couldn't really make them work for me, but recently I've been really enjoying them. Again, this one's from Quiz. This one is from Quiz, and I really like this. I am probably looking for a slightly thicker one for winter, but this could go underneath a coat as well as an extra layer and an extra kind of styling point. Again, for me personally, because I do find black suits me, I think a black one's probably top of my must-haves. I am after a grey, but for many years I wore this, and I probably will still wear this, even though it's not really the most flattering on me. This is from H&M. I've had this, I'm gonna say 6 years. I've had this a really long time. Again, with blazers, try and go slightly oversized and really look at the proportions in order to keep them looking current, if that is something that's important to you, like it is for me. I personally like a slightly longer blazer. Make sure the sleeves are a good length. Make sure it looks a little bit more relaxed, not like going to the office in like the early noughties. Something that can roll the sleeves up on, and just something that looks really like smart casual, and like finding that perfect balance is quite hard. Keep looking for the right blazer, like try on different sizes. Often blazers nowadays are so oversized that if you are kind of curvier like me, maybe you don't want it super oversized, so you might want to either try your actual size or a size down. And then sometimes brands make them just not quite oversized enough, so then try it on a size up, in my opinion. Back to jumpers, and I personally really love Cashmere. Obviously Cashmere is a little bit more expensive, but I think it's worth the investment, and I think you can also find Cashmere on somewhat of a budget. Personally, I just think it looks really cool, it looks like a little bit more expensive, it feels amazing, and it's that little bit warmer. So I love in particular, a crew neck cashmere jumper. Crew necks probably aren't the most flattering on me personally, so sometimes I like to put a little white t-shirt underneath. I kind of feel that kind of like softens out the neckline, and then I always wear a necklace with these sort of jumpers. Not all cashmere is created equally, in my opinion. If you have the money to spend £500 on a cashmere jumper, of course you're going to get a beautiful cashmere jumper. That's not me. So actually, a lot of my cashmere jumpers are secondhand. I've just been very fortunate in having found really beautiful secondhand cashmere jumpers, pretty much brand new. I do have a few from Amazon, which are a little bit thinner than some of my other jumpers, but actually I don't think they're too bad. And I will link them down below because I would happily buy these again. A lot of mine are men's. I always size up in them. This is probably my favourite jumper, bar none. It's bobbly. I need to debobble it. I just honestly haven't been prioritising that, and I haven't really needed to wear this jumper yet. But I love this jumper. It's from Uniqlo, it's a size large, and it's a men crew neck. I have the navy, there's lots of different colours. I tuck this in to like jeans or into my bra. I like to have it look kind of oversized but cropped, and I really think like getting oversized really helps. I got this for I think £18 brand new from a charity shop. I remember at the time thinking, oh, £18 for a jumper in a charity shop is crazy. It was definitely worth £18, and I think they're about £80 in store, and I think they're probably worth that, and I probably will buy some more. But like I said, have a look on Depop, eBay, Vinted for some brand new or at least like new cashmere jumpers. It's definitely worth it. I've also bought some M&S ones on eBay and they've been fine. Again, size up. I think I have mine in a 14, which isn't big enough because I am a 12 and I'm a bit top heavy. It's a bit slimmer than I'd like it to be, so I probably would go for a 16. I do have one in a 20, which is actually too big, so it is about finding that balance. One thing I will say is if you're a bit unsure about shopping online and you're looking for a jumper like a cashmere jumper from M&S that they have in store, go into store and try it on there, and then you have a better idea as to what you're looking for online. But cashmere jumpers, if you can, really worth it. They have a wool version of this which is slightly cheaper and I really love as well. They're very similar. I wear the wool one probably as much as I wear this one, but I accidentally shrunk it this weekend and I'm a little bit heartbroken by it. I am going to put it in fabric softener in the hope that it will kind of loosen up the yarn and kind of make it less shrunk, but I don't think it will ever be the same. This cashmere jumper that I just showed you is dry clean only. Personally, please don't come for me. Personally, I put on a hand wash program and I've never had issues with that. This one that I recently shrunk, I accidentally put it on a 40 wash. I wouldn't recommend doing that. And then finally, I have a bit of a wardrobe care piece. I wanted to show you two different bits, but for some reason I've lost one of them. Basically, we are kind of about to start painting our house, and so everything's a little bit everywhere. We need to order a new wardrobe. It's a bit crazy here at the moment. I have two tools which I use a lot in autumn and winter when I am wearing more cashmere jumpers, wool jumpers, coats, and that is a cashmere comb and also one of those like electric shavers for your clothes. I would highly recommend picking up both. I'm not going to say that they're going to bring your clothes back to new. They aren't, but they will get them looking that little bit better. Probably, if I had to pick one of the two, I would go for the little shaver over this. I do find it a bit harsher, but it kind of gets the job done a little bit better in my opinion. And again, both items you'll have for many years, if not for the rest of your life if you look after it. I don't think these need replacing, but I could be wrong. They'll keep your wardrobe looking better and fresher. Just get more life out of it. So definitely recommend both. This one seems to be from a brand called Needle. On my little electric shaver, I have a Philips, and mine is from Amazon. But thank you so much for watching. I hope it was somewhat insightful. Let me know what are your autumn and winter must-haves. Have I missed anything? I will be back next Thursday with another video. I think it's going to be beauty, but to be honest, it kind of depends on whether I get my shit together and the house is a bit more tidy and I can go through my beauty collection with you. Fingers crossed. Is that likely? I'm unsure. You might have a review of Doc Martens. It'll probably be one or the other. But let me know which one you'd like to see next week. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, like the video if you enjoyed it. Leave me a comment down below and I will see you next Thursday. Bye.